Welcome to the deep dive. We're taking a fascinating look today at something that's clearly captured a lot of attention. The 2025 Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. The interest is definitely there.
We've got this huge collection of search terms, what people are actually typing into search engines.
A massive list.
And our mission, basically, is to explore this data and give you, the listener, a real sense of the key questions, the core curiosity surrounding this iconic race.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's unpack what everyone's searching for. It seems like right away, the most basic stuff comes up.
It's immediately apparent, yeah. You see a real mix of needs, but a massive volume is around the absolute fundamentals of the event.
Exactly, like making sure the foundation is solid. We're seeing tons of searches for straightforward things like Kentucky Derby 2025.
Uh-huh. And when is the Kentucky Derby 2025? Even, like you said, what is the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, which tells us there's a really wide range of interest, from maybe dedicated horse racing fans to people who might just be tuning in for the first time.
That makes sense. And right alongside those foundational questions, there's a very strong interest in who the potential winner might be.
Oh, for sure. That jumps out.
The variations are quite interesting, too. Who won the Kentucky Derby 2025, Kentucky Derby 2025 winner? Who won the 2025 Kentucky Derby?
Right. Winner of Kentucky Derby 2025. All different ways of asking the same thing.
It seems a lot of people are already trying to, well, maybe not predict the outcome, but certainly figure out who to watch.
It's the big question everyone wants the answer to, isn't it? And you can also see how important the date itself is.
Mm-hmm. Beyond just the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So many queries asking, when is Kentucky Derby and when is the Kentucky Derby race? Just nailing down that calendar date.
Marking the calendar is clearly a priority for many, yeah.
But what's fascinating, I think, is how the focus sharpens so quickly from those essential who, what, when questions.
To the timing.
Yeah.
The exact time of the race. It's incredible how much focus there is on that.
You are absolutely right. This list is just packed with different ways people are asking about the time.
So many variations.
We've got Kentucky Derby 2025 time. What time is the Kentucky Derby 2025? And then it gets really specific, like what time is the actual Kentucky Derby race?
Uh-huh. Or what time will the Kentucky Derby run? Even saw things like Derby time today popping up.
It's almost as if knowing that exact starting moment is like crucial for planning how they watch it, whether they're, at the track or on their couch.
Well, it makes sense. It's a short race, high stakes. You miss the start, you kind of miss the main event.
Yeah, that hyper-focus on the exact time probably reflects that. People aren't just casually tuning in. They're planning their day around this precise moment.
It really underscores how important that real-time engagement is for viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And the sheer number of variations, like you said, it also suggests maybe people are finding conflicting info.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just want to be absolutely sure.
Could be. And you also see post time coming up again and again.
Right. That specific term. Kentucky Derby post time. Kentucky Derby 2025 post time. Kentucky Derby post time.
So post time is the actual, like, when the horses get in the gate, that specific moment.
Exactly. That's the official start time for the race itself, so it makes sense why people zero in on that term.
Okay, that clarifies things. So moving on from the timing, which is clearly huge, it's obvious the horses themselves are a massive draw.
Oh, absolutely. Kentucky Derby 2025 horses, Kentucky Derby horses 2025. I mean, the focus on the actual athletes is intense.
Yeah, the equine athletes.
Exactly. And as we look closer at those horse-related searches, you see this natural progression in the detail people want.
How so?
Well, it's not just enough to know their horses, right? People want lists. Derby horses 2025 list, Kentucky Derby 2025 horses list. They're looking for the full rundown.
The roster, got it. And then it gets even more granular, doesn't it? Like horses in Kentucky Derby or even Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby horses.
Right, connecting the horses to the specific famous venue. That context matters.
And people want to see them, too. I noticed searches like Kentucky Derby 2025 horses pictures.
Mm-hmm. Visuals are important. And we're also seeing certain horse names pop up specifically.
Yeah, like who?
Well, the list mentioned Sandman Kentucky Derby, American Promise Horse, Burnham Square Horse, Citizen Bull, Coal Battle.
Ah, okay. So specific horses are already generating buzz, probably based on, what, past races or news about them?
Likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Their performances, maybe trainer connections, the stories behind them. That captures public attention. Someone even searched Dwayne Lucas Derby horse.
Interesting. And thinking about the race structure, there are tons of searches for things like Kentucky Derby field, Kentucky Derby lineup, and Kentucky Derby post positions.
Right. People are clearly interested in the strategic side, where the horses start, how that might affect the race. It's not just about the individual horse, but the whole setup.
The context of the race.
Exactly. And with these contenders now in mind, it's really no surprise that a huge amount of interest then shifts towards, well, who might actually win?
And that brings us squarely into the world of betting and odds.
Which is, as you know, a massive part of the Kentucky Derby experience for so many people.
Absolutely massive. I mean, the sheer volume of searches around Kentucky Derby 2025 odds, Kentucky Derby odds, Derby odds, it's kind of staggering.
It really is. It's clear a lot of people are thinking about placing a wager, or at least understanding the odds.
And it's not just general interest, right? People are looking for very specific info.
Definitely. Kentucky Derby 2025 horses odds, current Kentucky Derby odds. They want the latest numbers, presumably, to inform their bets.
And you can also see people trying to figure out the how. Searches like how to bet on the Kentucky Derby and bet on Kentucky Derby online.
Right, the practical side of placing a bet. Plus, curiosity about the different types of bets.
Yeah, I saw Win Place Show bet quite a bit, which, for anyone listening who's new to this, that's betting on a horse to finish first, second, or third.
A good starting point for many. But we also see the more complex ones. Trifecta box, exact bet, superfecta.
So people are definitely exploring those more exotic wagers, too. It's like a real-time crash course in horse racing betting.
It seems like it. And the fascination with the front runners, the favorites, that's crystal clear, too.
Oh, yeah. Kentucky Derby favorites. Who is favored to win the Kentucky Derby? Current odds for the Kentucky Derby.
Everyone wants that inside track, right? Who do the experts think has the best shot?
Is this level of betting interest, do you think, typical for the Derby compared to other big sports events? Or is it sort of unique?
That's a good question. I feel like betting is just so deeply woven into the fabric of the Derby, its history and tradition. Maybe more so than some other events.
Nah, that feels right. Okay, so people know when it is, they're figuring out who's running, they're looking at the odds, but how do they actually see the race?
Ah, yes. The viewing and access, another huge category in these searches.
Clearly a major area of interest.
This is such a crucial piece. For anyone not lucky enough to be at Churchill Downs, knowing how to watch is, well, it's everything.
And the number of searches proves it. What channel is the Kentucky Derby on? Where to watch Kentucky Derby 2025? How to watch the Kentucky Derby? Just variations on that theme over and over.
It really highlights how essential that information is.
And it's not just traditional TV anymore, is it? We're seeing tons of searches for streaming.
Oh, absolutely. Kentucky Derby live stream Kentucky Derby 2025, and specific platforms getting mentioned.
Yeah, I saw Peacock, TwinSpires, FanDuel, even TwinSpires app. People are looking for those specific services.
Which definitely reflects how we watch live events these days. People want options.
And they want it live, right? That immediacy.
For sure. The searches for Kentucky Derby Live, and Kentucky Derby Live coverage show that. They want to experience that thrill as it unfolds.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, finally, let's maybe zoom out a bit and look at searches about the event itself.
Right. Beyond the timing, the horses, the betting, the viewing, just the Derby as a phenomenon.
Yeah, because there's a huge number of queries just trying to understand the Kentucky Derby as a whole.
Absolutely. You see those fundamental searches like just Kentucky Derby, Dory Derby, the Kentucky Derby, sometimes misspelled like Kentucky DB or Kentucky Derby.
Huh, yeah, I saw a few of those. Shows people are searching even if they're not quite sure on the spelling. And then there's location.
Right. Where is the Kentucky Derby? Kentucky Derby location. Where is the Kentucky Derby held? Basic geography.
And the practicalities, of course. Tickets.
Oh, yeah. Kentucky Derby tickets, Kentucky Derby ticket prices. How much are tickets to the Kentucky Derby?
Lots of people wondering about the cost of getting in. It shows that being there in person is still a huge aspiration for many.
Definitely. And the Derby's place in the bigger picture comes up, too.
You mean the Triple Crown?
Exactly. Searches for Triple Crown races. What is the Triple Crown? People understand, or want to understand, that the Derby is the first leg of something bigger.
And then there's the money side again. But not just betting odds, the prize money.
Right. The financial aspects are definitely on people's minds. Numerous queries about Derby payouts, Kentucky Derby purse. How much does the Kentucky Derby winner get?
And not just the owner, but the jockey, too. How much does the winning jockey get?
That's a recurring one. People are curious about the whole financial ecosystem of the race. We also see interest in related races on the day, like Race 11 Churchill Downs today.
Ah, so the undercard races too, and how the Derby itself works. Even how does the Kentucky Derby work?
Yeah, and how long it is. How long is the Kentucky Derby run time? Plus specific people involved. Trainers like Bob Baffert, jockeys like Manny Franco.
And of course, the results after the fact or anticipating them. Kentucky Derby 2025 results, Kentucky Derby winner, who won?
It covers the whole life cycle of the event, really, before, during, and after.
It's truly fascinating seeing the full picture laid out like this from the search data.
It really is.
The sheer volume and just the different kinds of questions, it really shows the widespread anticipation for the 2025 Kentucky Derby.
You can absolutely see how many people are trying to nail down those essential details, the who, what, when, where.
Yeah, the basics, but also how many are diving deep into the specifics of betting or really getting to know the horses, figuring out the best way to watch?
And what really stands out to me is how often certain questions come up,
Yeah.
especially those about the exact race time and all the different ones to watch.
Right, it keeps circling back to that.
It suggests that maybe finding that information clearly and easily, it might still be a bit challenging for people.
Could be. Well, this deep dive into these search queries, it really gives us, and hopefully you listening, a fascinating snapshot of what everyone's curious about.
A snapshot of the collective consciousness heading towards the Derby.
Exactly. The information people are looking for as they get ready for the Kentucky Derby, it kind of makes you wonder, what other patterns might pop up as we get even closer.
True. The focus might shift again.
And for you, the listener, after hearing about all this, what particular aspect of the Kentucky Derby has piqued your interest the most right now? Something to think about.